What's up guys, Barry Game here, back with some more AFK Journey, and today we have to test Mikola somewhere that I do not think her performance is going to be very good. We've had some really amazing results this past week, testing her out against a bunch of the other Dream Realm bosses. However, Snow Stomper I don't think is going to be one that she is going to be very viable for. Now you see, she has been used by some of the really good teams. However, beating the best go-to team on Snow Stomper is going to be a very difficult task to do. This team has been the team since Lily May came out the week or so before that. She's been providing tons of damage. The only kind of question mark is the Merrily on this type of team. You can easily drop Merrily for like an Odie even, and the scores are similar. They're not the same. Of course, Merrily is still going to be doing the best against Snow Stomper, but it is nice to see that this is a more traditional team that has Rainier and Scarlita. It's not like a Freyesto team or anything like that for, you know, the Celestial Inhabitants you don't really go for. Free to play typically go for Rainier and then start working on Scarlita overall. And this team is working pretty good. Now, the big reason why, of course, Smokey, even to this point, probably is not going to be used on this boss here is simply because of the silence. That completely takes away all of Smokey's toolkit. And there's only certain windows where it kind of opens up. So you see here, this team here, we did about 43 billion. Still got us a little bit better of a score here. Still not like super amazing, but I want to try a couple things here, and this is why I literally titled this might not work. So at the very least, I want to see what happens if we take out our secondary damage dealer, not for Almas, for Mikola, and see what happens here. Now I do think in this situation we might need to be swapping Mikola for her to survive. But let's see how this goes. I'm intrigued to see how her healing works in this one, even when silenced. I don't even know if it works silenced because I have not tried this just yet. It does seem like she is still providing healing and such, which means she does have a boost compared to Smokey. The big negative for her is she is a range 1 hero, which means she is in melee range, which means she's also going to be getting that cone, that like big frost breath that the Snow Stomper does across the edge of the screen here. So let's see how this turns out. It could be better than running a second damage dealer, because not only that, she's also providing haste, attack buffs, all these different things that are going to let our Lily May level up faster. It does look like the damage is going to suffer a little bit here. So we're actually going down to about 42.5. It's not like, not horrible, but when you compare it to our 43, kind of says something. So the next test is going to be what happens if we take the Scarlita out. And where are you, Merrily? You should be somewhere towards the top. There you are. Let's run the Merrily. So instead of running the Scarlita, who's going to be buffing our damage at the very end of the battle, what happens if we're providing more healing to our squad, as well as buffing up the attack of all of our heroes and their haste? This might be better too, because I feel like Merrily even breaks enemies out of the little snowmen faster than Scarlita. I mean, she's ranged, so she doesn't even have to move either. And survivability wise, this is looking pretty solid as well. Question is, can we do the damage that we need to? Oh, she took a big hit right there. I think we have to change her positioning up on this one, because I think she's just getting targeted instead of the Thorin. But honestly, that's not the worst thing. She's able to survive, which is intriguing. But only 40 billion is not great. It shows you how powerful that buff from Scarlita actually is. It's just very influential here. So what happens if we put you like in the back? That way Thorin's the one that's taking the brunt of the hits. She's still up front taking the AoE hits. But let's see. The one thing that's really hard to beat on this boss is Rainier on your teams, just because of the way his healing works on that one target, and the one target is going to be in that snowman quite often, so the extra healing does seem to help. The damage reduction helps as well. And yeah, Mikola actually at this power level seems to be tanky enough to tank the hits, but you have to remember, we've been in Endless for quite a while, so this strategy might not be as viable if you're in the earlier Endless game mode. You don't have quite as high resonance levels on all of your heroes. But yeah, right around 40 billion seems to be the max that this team is going to output. It's not going to come close to that 43 that we had with the traditional squad here. So the only thing I'm even intrigued to see what happens, like, I know in the previous times we stated that Mikola now makes Smokey like even stronger. I don't think this is going to work. Like, yes, we do get some attack buffs onto our hero, but again, every time we get silenced, man, is he even going to get 3 ultimates off? That's the big question for Smokey. Because Smokey can output damage. He just needs to get 3 ultimates off. And he doesn't get 3. That's going to be sketchy. That's 1. I think we might get a 3rd one. Here we go after this. Actually, no. It looks like we only get 2 ultimates off, which is one of the biggest reasons I feel like Smokey just isn't viable in this. Because even if he does keep his team alive... Granted, it's already more damage than the previous setups because of the buffs that we're getting. And that's without Smokey even getting an ultimate off. Holy cow. I'm intrigued to try something that's probably not a smart idea. No, it's definitely not a smart idea. It's a very respectable damage number with Smokey, though, which is surprising. We get so many stats from this. I was like, what if we use this one and make sure Smokey can't get CC'd in the beginning? You know what? Let's just give it a shot. No, because then the positioning is an issue. Then we have to do something like this instead. I mean, why not? Let's just see what happens. We're here to test. Wait! He didn't get swapped. Oh! He didn't get swapped because we're literally using the one that doesn't let control effects happen to him. Even if it means a good control effect for allies, it doesn't happen. Now, this isn't the worst thing in the world, I guess. Is it? I don't know. That was a really bad combination of events because he's still giving the attack buff. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, Mikola is definitely a possible substitute. I was just trying to see if, like, her plus Smokey is actually a viable strategy. Definitely does not seem viable. I mean, let's be honest. The damage is, like, within 1.5 billion of the more traditional team, so I would say that is still a pretty good win. But it does seem like Mikola does work, but you do need to run it in the more traditional style team with Scarlita and all that funless. This looks like the, what I will call traditional team right here, I think. Let's give it one more try, see what the damage number looks like. She does look like a viable option, though. Instead of running another damage dealer, her additional buffs do seem to be doing a good thing. But again, it still feels like her Mythic Plus and her Supreme Plus just aren't working the way they're supposed to. It's really nice, though, the fact that as long as you guys control the zone, she's still able to heal even though everybody is silenced during those phases, which does really help the survivability against Snow Stomper, because that's one of the hardest things, is keeping your team alive against Snow Stomper, and it's actually one thing she does very well in this setup, which is really, really nice to see. Beyond that, she's giving, you know, physical and magic defense to her allies. Really, really awesome setup. So yeah, we do break the 4 billion mark again. Surprisingly, it's just still not as good. It's gonna sound weird, but that setup right there was not as good as this setup, if I remember what our last attempt was. Let's do this one more time. I gotta see how this turns out. The fact that, like, Smokey and her actually is a viable strategy is pretty crazy. Granted, it's still falling behind, I think, the very traditional setup where you still run merrily. This is the final test. Can we get some RNG? Can we break our previous record? 33 billion with 30 seconds to go. Gotta break 40 right here. I mean, it's still a respectable number, but it's not the best. So I would say she is like an S tier against Snow Stomper, but not quite at the tippy top. The tippy top is the more traditional setup even to this day. So let me know what you guys think. That is the Snow Stomper testing. Very viable for sure. And especially if you're having difficulty surviving against this, if you are building a Mikola up, she can be a great addition to the healing support of this team, giving haste, giving defensive buffs, healing, and of course a ton of attack as well. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'll see you guys next time.